Welcome back, everyone. Today we are talking about 5 tips for DMing. So tip number 1, are you running homebrew or are you running published? If you're running homebrew, that's fantastic. There's nothing like creating your own world and your own story for your players to play in. Now in the Dungeon Master's book, Big Purple has a big guy on it. There's a lot of stuff in there talking about textures and environment and how to build and traps and stuff. It's a very essential piece for your homebrew to go ahead and get that book to read through it. You might find a cheaper copy online, I'm not sure. With current recording, things are kind of slowing down with delivery and stuff like that, but if you're doing homebrew, awesome. Now if you are doing published, which I recommend doing published first for DMing your first time. Why? Because everything is already written out for you. You don't have to try to come up with monsters, should I put monsters in this town? What's going to be the story in this town? How many towns should I make? It's already written out for you, the story, the environment, what to even say, because it gives blocks in there of, say this to the players. You just read it to your players. It's all done for you, so you don't have to worry about creating and having all this paper with ideas, thoughts, and maps and stuff. It's already done. So if you're doing homebrew or published, I would do published first. You can also do published at Adventure League, or you can do published at home. Homebrew is a little bit more extensive, and you can use that knowledge from you posting published sessions into your homebrew sessions. So you can take what you've learned, the different hooks, the different characters, NPCs, and plug those into your homebrew world and create your own spectacular session. Now, second tip is altering monsters and dynamics. Now, this is a big thing. I think I was on Reddit and somebody was saying that they dropped in like 16 kobolds on their party. And my first thought is like, why would you just drop 16 kobolds? It needs to be dynamic. Change it up. You need, these kobolds maybe they have pet rats, and pet rats, they go and attack them. The kobolds hang back in the back, shooting arrows, maybe possibly spell casting. Don't just throw the same monsters over and over again at your players. Now this is it more so goes into homebrew. When you're writing a homebrew, if you're running published, you're going to throw whatever monsters that is in the book that it tells you to. Now, if you're running a homebrew, you want that dynamic for your monsters. You want to have them flank. You want to have them, monsters are not dumb. So don't treat them that way. Have them flank. Have them set up traps. Have your monsters listen for the other players when they're getting near them. Now, if you find that your party is just knocking down your monsters, they're having no problem, they're just breezing through this dungeon that you thought would take them way longer, beef them up. Give them more hit points, maybe give them their AC a little higher, make their attacks hurt a little bit more. Maybe add in some different bigger monsters, instead, put in an ogre or, a hobgoblin or something bigger than just a couple of maybe goblins that you had sitting for them around the corner. Now, real quick, let's talk about improv and voices. Improv, I'm going to tell you right now, it takes practice. You can read videos, yeah. You can read all the books you want, watch all the videos you want, and unless you actually go out and do it, improving, you won't really learn how to improv. Now, where does improv come into play? It comes into play when your characters take a hard left on a trail and want to go do something else. Improv comes in when they talk to an NPC and you have nothing written really for them, so you have to improvise the voice, their mannerisms, their characteristics, those sort of things. So improv really helps of on the spot, this is what happens and this is what happens, even though you have nothing written actually for that. So like I said, improv is something that it's going to develop as you use it. You can't just watch a video about improv and how to do it and then jump into a session and boom, you're quick on the draw with, whatever the players come into, and it lets the game run smoothly. Now with voices, that's a touchy subject. Some players will do voices, some players won't do voices. Some DMs will, some DMs won't. Some people will never do voices in their life. They just don't care for it. If you feel the potential that your players will do voices, or they already start doing voices, then start doing voices yourself. I mean, you don't have to give every single thing, every single creature, monster, NPC a voice. Just start out giving one of the main characters at that time a voice and build from there. If you see your players are enjoying it, start giving other things voices. And there's a lot of videos on developing your own different kind of voices and different kind of mannerisms when you do those voices as well. So number 4, pocket encounters. Next tip, I have a full video down below about pocket encounters. What they are is your 3 core elements to D&D, which is social, combat, and exploration. You can have a stack of 3x5 cards. You know, this stack is social, this is combat, this is exploration. And on each card, it gives kind of a description of what you're going to be using this card for. They're mainly used when your players go off the grid and start doing stuff on their own that you have nothing written there. There's no story there, you don't know what to do, they're just walking through a forest. You can either roll the dice to kind of select a pocket encounter for you, or you can just pick one. Like, hey, well, the characters start going into the woods, let's give them a social. You pick up your 3x5 card of a social and read it. Description of something, you know, okay, so they find this lost kid in the woods, boom, go from there. It keeps the game running smoothly. There's something for the players to do. Instead of you trying to scramble and look through papers, you know, well, what can I put for these players here? You know, I don't have anything. Pocket encounters, I would say, are a must for a homebrew setting. Do it, fantastic, awesome. Now, dealing with difficult players, every DM, you're gonna deal with difficult players. That's just how it's gonna be. Whether they are a rule lawyer, whether they're disputing something with another player, or you could have them just looking at their phone the entire time, not paying attention to the game. They might be running late all the time or leaving early for no reason. I mean, people have lives outside of the game, yes, but if it's a continual thing of them showing up an hour late, you know, and then getting upset because they weren't, you know, involved in something or a big fight, or they leave early, leaving the party hanging. You know, it's nice to have time set aside, you know, that the players will say like, hey, you know, I can play from here to here. Boom, fantastic, the DM knows, and then they can get the adventure set up for having those 4 people there. When you deal with difficult players, really the overall scheme of it is you don't want to address them at the table with the entire party if it's something big. If they are, you know, checking the rules on you, you could say, you know, hey, you know, thanks for bringing that up, thanks for letting me know, but let's just, you know, keep the game running smoothly, and let's just go with what I said for right now. You know, if it starts to get really big and heated, I would take that person aside after the game and let him know, you know, hey, you know, I'm having some difficulty with you with this, the players are saying this about you, and players are having a hard time with your character going around and stealing from them, or, you know, killing people in town for no reason. You know, try to discuss it one-on-one with them first. Don't ever discuss big things like that with everyone around, because it's just awkward having everyone at the table while the DM is trying to, you know, scold this guy for whatever he's doing at the table. So take it privately, and if things don't work out, then let him know, you know, things are just not going to work out, and you might have to find a new table. Now, I also have a long video too about dealing with difficult players down below. It is a bit old. It's like 2 years old since I was last doing videos, so it's a bit old. So those are my 5 tips for being a new DM. I will put out a video for DMing your first session and things, you know, to remember and look out for as well. So number 1, are you going to be running a homebrew or a published book? Number 2, altering monsters and their dynamics. You know, if their party's pushing past them, make them a bit beefier. Also, you know, monsters are not dumb. Have them flank, have them, you know, on different levels. You know, have maybe archers up top, you know, some guys at the bottom, and maybe, you know, put in some traps in there too. Improv and voices, that is something that is just going to take practice, to take work. Don't expect it overnight. It just takes work to find voices. If you're walking around the store doing voices, I've been caught doing that, you'll get weird glances because you'll just get caught up in this character and you start doing his mannerisms and his voices, and people start looking at you and you're like, oh yeah, I should probably not do that. Walking around in a store. But improv and voices is something that you're going to have to develop within yourself, within your party. So it's something, it's once you start to work on it, it's fantastic. It's great. Pocket encounters, like I said, I have another video all about pocket encounters. They're really essential to have, especially in a homebrew setting. And dealing with difficult players, you're always going to find difficult players. And that's just something you're going to have to get used to. Sometimes it's you know, a lot more detrimental to the party, to the game session. And sometimes it's just small little stuff that you can talk to them and be like, hey, you know, you're doing this. They're like, oh yeah, you know, my bad, I didn't realize I was doing that. Cool. And it's settled. So thank you guys again for watching, stopping by, and hanging out. If you want me to do any kind of videos, let me know, and I'll get those videos out. But you guys have a good one, and I will see you next time.